Thanks for tuning in to the Mission Matters podcast, where we feature successful, mission-driven leaders committed to creating a positive change in the world. Our mission with this channel is to inspire other leaders by providing industry insights, new ideas, and inspiring stories from the pros.
Hi, Paul Feith here, host of the show where I interview business leaders heading mission-focused organizations in the nonprofit space, leading from the heart and making a difference in their communities. Thanks for tuning into this special episode where we take a look back at parts of our favorite conversations from previous episodes. It's brought to you by Gregory Media, an 18-year-old digital marketing agency in downtown Naperville, Illinois. They are one of only a few thousand certified B corporations worldwide, demonstrating PGM as a leader of a global movement to use business as a force for good, meeting high standards of accountability, transparency, and community involvement. Trusted by hundreds of organizations since 2006, PGM is recognized as one of the top marketing agencies in the region, earning more awards than many of its competitors. They have the passion, commitment, and expertise to get it done. To learn more about the services PGM offers or how they can support you with your marketing needs, visit paulgregorymedia.com or email them at inquire@paulgregorymedia.com. Now, let's take a look back at some of our favorite conversations from past episodes. Enjoy.
When I left Benedictine back in August, I just felt like there was something else that I needed to do, kind of my last hurrah, if you will. And I kept trying to force it. And finally, when I said, you know what, whatever I'm meant to do next, I want it to have meaning, I want it to have purpose, and I want it to feel right and to resonate with me in such a deep way that I can't not do it. And so I was called, if you will, to look at something called love-led leadership. And it came to me with a poster that I have above my desk that says love. And one day it just was like a brick the side of my head going, hey, it's about love, goofy, And I was like, what? Well, I started doing some research on love-led leadership, and holy cow, it's real. It's out there. There have been academics that have studied the impact of power-led leadership. There are researchers. Harvard Business Review has many articles that focus on leading with love and the impact that has. And I truly was blown away by the research that has been done. And yet, when I've mentioned it with a few people that I've shared my next chapter with, they go, I've never heard of that.
In 2020, when everybody was asked to begin socially distancing and doors were being closed, faith institutions were shuttering their buildings. And so we did not have a destination for clients to be able to go to each night for shelter. And that led us to follow a path that was modeled around something we call medical respite. And medical respite, if you're experiencing homelessness, is extremely important because you've been discharged from the hospital for either a severe illness or injury, and you don't have a home to go rest in to recover. So if you're on the streets during the day or in the evening, you're medically vulnerable already, and you're more likely to encounter either increased illness or increased difficulties with your injury, infection, so on and so forth. So what DuPage Pads would do at the time was rent hotel rooms and provide that client with the safe space that they could stay in for a period of up to several weeks as they recover from their illness or injury. And then they would move back in with the population that was moving from church to church each night, sleeping on floors. And so we took that medical respite model and we thought, could we take our most medically vulnerable at the start of the pandemic and get them into hotels? And fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, not very many hotel rooms were being occupied. Travel had come to a grinding halt, and hotels were eager to have business. So we came up with a safe model, rented 20 rooms. Very quickly, that moved to 60. And within a few months, we were at 120 rooms scattered across different hotels, including in Naperville, Downers Grove, and the surrounding community. And that was a temporary means of sheltering individuals during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic.
When I work with nonprofit leaders, we introduce the idea of a social enterprise versus a traditional charitable agency. And the difference is a typical charitable agency will look at all the grant money that they're going to get, kind of plan to see, maybe they've got a couple of multi-year grants from foundations and the like. And then they'll say, well, how can we operate within that? Whereas a social enterprise will say, here's what we need to accomplish. Where do we get the money? And so it's a different way of thinking about how you approach your business. We are a business. We're just a business with a special tax status. But that's an example of how you think differently. I saw a report back in 2019 that said 1 out of 7 typical community-based charity organizations are insolvent. They just don't know it yet.
1 out of how many?
7.
Jeez. Okay.
Right? Because they're thinking, in my opinion, they're thinking like a typical.
Because they're not thinking.
Well, they're not thinking the right way. Let's put it that way. They haven't adapted their thinking to the 21st century. The reality of, look, nobody's giving away feel-good funding anymore. People, foundations are holding agencies more accountable to how they're spending the funds.
Of course, yeah.
And so you no longer have that. Plus, we have a different generation of donors, individual donors, who are contributing to very different things. Whereas baby boomers might have contributed to religious organizations and the like, the millennials are more apt to donate to pets or animals, animal agencies, and that sort of thing.
I always say this, and this is something that I think we forget as nonprofits. We exist in the same marketplace as other businesses. So why do we think we need to do things differently? We can create impact, but we need to do that in a way that recognizes that the same reasons that businesses are successful are the same reasons we're going to be successful. It's just that, to your point, the missions are different. And so my goal is to make sure that impact organizations actually can create the impact. And the only way I know how to do that is through how you would operate a business. I will say, though, that, I really feel that I have this perspective, too, that I say that all businesses are social enterprises, whether they know it or not, because some of us, to me, focus on, as nonprofits, we focus on creating an impact. And most businesses, of course, focus on creating a profit. But at the same time, there's always an impact, whether they know it or not. And so my goal is to hopefully see more businesses, whether they're nonprofits or for-profits, understand the impact that they're having on society and lean into that more.
The definition that I always use for digital sustainability, it is that it is a process of incorporating environmental, economic, and social stewardship practices into digital products and services. So some of the Apple things that you mentioned are for sure included as part of that, but also digital can be used to advance sustainability innovation, for instance, or just to generally advance sustainability principles. So digital transformation can be used to, incorporate sustainability principles into the things that your organization does. And it can be used to speed up that process. As part of that, those things also have an environmental, social, and economic impact in and of themselves. So making sure that you want to use digital tools to advance your sustainability initiatives, and you also want to be mindful of the sustainability initiatives having an impact in and of themselves. And so for digital, that means things like digital accessibility and digital emissions. And, there's a whole slew of things that kind of fall under that ESG umbrella of economic, social, and or environmental, social, and governance.
Thanks for listening to the Mission Matters podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.